Imagine you're worrying about someone, willing to take care of that person, even neglecting your career that means everything to you and gave you the chance to gain prosperity. Your stubbornness brought you much success, but now, your thoughts are somewhere else than your boxing career. That was always the first priority. Your thoughts and worries are with your physical therapist and his condition, though you're still refusing to accept that you need him more than you believe. And perhaps he's even here not only to get saved by you, but what if he's saving you too? Yes, so far the plot in Jinx is slow burning, but most of the times, with each new chapter, we get small glimpses of hope and development, though sometimes they're so tiny that we have to look out for them carefully. Does it get frustrating? Absolutely. Is it still worth it? Yes, but at what cost, LOL? But still, Jinx chapter 67 showed us a side of Jaekyung we'd never expect in the first season. Why that? Let me elaborate. As mentioned before, the great emperor always puts boxing, himself and his career on first priority without any other considerations. His mind was full focused on staying the champion and always being the best. He never skipped training or messed up with his diet. Remember when he drastically had to drop weight for the match in the States around chapter 37 and was a pain in the back? The rage I felt around those chapters was out of this world. LOL. So what incident exactly did occur for Jaekyung to neglect his career? We know that he wasn't obviously not happy for not winning against Baek Jumin, but have you noticed how disappointed Jaekyung was about the opportunity that Kim Dan might have been a traitor? So it was related to Kim Dan, obviously. Also, the fact that he was out of his mind when Kim Dan cut him off and went completely no contact with Jaekyung or Team Black. He wanted to leave everything behind. And we're not talking about some days or a week, but for months. So we all know that Jaekyung is trying really hard to hold on to his delusions because everyone knows that he's so into Kim Dan, though the realization didn't hit so far. But with the recent chapter 67, he showed that he cared and saw the opportunity to be Kim Dan's nightly guard since a doctor prescribed it. He saw his opportunity and took it, though he still can't comprehend why exactly he's worrying, because he needs Kim Dan's body? I guess we're way past that. Sadly, he's still thinking with his thing down there, though it starts to crumble. It absolutely broke my heart to see Kim Dan brushing off the seriousness of his mental state in front of Jaekyung, though deep down he perhaps knows how bad it really is. Though it seems as if he's in a loop he can't get out, so it's every day the same struggle again. He just got used to drinking before bed, so that's what he's doing, as if he doesn't see a resort. He clearly thinks that Jaekyung only wants him for his body, and therefore he's doing so much for Kim Dan. Though you could clearly see not only the anger, but also the fear in Jaekyung's eyes when he took the bottle from Kim Dan, in my opinion. He was even too stunned to say something when Kim Dan confronted him whether he is worrying about him. It annoys me so much that Jaekyung still did it with him though. So let me tell you, the misunderstanding is on another level. But that's part of the plot, and I think the realizations are starting to flow into their heads, and I truly hope that Jaekyung will clear all of that and tell Kim Dan into his face that he does care for him as a person rather than only his body. Kim Dan's actual state is serious as hell. Have you noticed while reading chapter 67 that Jaekyung was talking to Coach on the phone and they were talking about a matter regarding the MFC? What do you think was this about? And why was Jaekyung asking if the MFC is doing anything and that coach should tell them to hurry up? What is all this about? What do you think? Let me know in the comments. What I'm also curious about is whether they'll sleep together again in bed since it's a standard double bed. Will they finish what they're doing or will Jaekyung stop it? We will get to it in a moment when talking about possible thoughts, theories, and predictions on chapter 68. But first, let's have a look on the predictions on chapter 67 and whether they did occur. The possibility included that the chapter will start where it ended, namely at the hospital at the consultation with the sleep specialist. We would learn about his diagnosis that could be related to his mental state. Perhaps we would even see Jaekyung's reaction or thoughts. Well, this did occur. They both were present in the consultation with the doctor, and we learned that Jaekyung intends to be the nightly guard for Kim Dan because of his sleepwalking. He seemed really serious about it. The second possibility was about anything that happens after the appointment at the hospital and perhaps even staying at Jaekyung's place and noticing a tiny change in Jaekyung's attitude. Also perhaps if Kim Dan even has to stay at the hospital. Well, initially Jaekyung planned to return to his home, but Kim Dan refused, so they stayed at a hotel room. Luckily, he didn't have to stay at the hospital, but if I did get it right, he has to come over the weekend if possible. So I'd say it still counts as correct though. The third possibility was about something that might happen to Kim Dan's grandma, and that Kim Dan and Jaekyung have to return to the village. Luckily, this didn't happen. But still, in my opinion, it's inevitable, and I think sadly something is going to happen to his grandma. But so far not, and that's good. I've got the feeling that the upcoming chapter marks a crucial moment in their relationship, since both of them are obviously not okay with the situation they're in, and perhaps that it can't go on like that. Though I don't think that they'll go separate ways again. Jaekyung is too stubborn for that, I guess. Also, I've got the feeling that nothing good will happen for a turning point, but rather something bad that will absolutely be devastating. What if Granny passes away for real? So for the first prediction, I think it would be possible that it will continue where it started. Them together in bed. We saw for a moment that Kim Dan was not feeling good. Was it a headache? What if he will pass out again? I think it would also be possible that Jaekyung starts to reflect what they're even doing and that this can't go on. What if he will stay awake for a longer time and have realizations? For the second possibility, I think it's likely to happen that Jaekyung still will finish what they're doing, but they're going to stop because Kim Dan will pass out again. Will Jaekyung stop then? What if he'll take care of him after reflecting what just happened? Jaekyung is volatile, so it's not too easy to guess what is going on in his stubborn head. Fact is that I think he's going to be a touch softer with Kim Dan than he's been before. As I already stated, I still got the feeling that something bad is going to happen. We already learned about how bad Kim Dan's mental state and health is. We know that Jaekyung is pausing his career and is planning to look after Kim Dan. We already see Kim Dan close to drowning himself. What if his grandma is going to pass away now? Don't think I'm crazy for thinking of this possibility again, but it's just that I've got the feeling that this is close to happening. It's what she asked Jaekyung to do last they saw each other. I've prepared myself for that, but we all know that Kim Dan won't be ready for that. Also, I think we will see how their night will be together and even their morning together. So much happened so far and Kim Dan has been through a lot. Also, Jaekyung is slowly but surely changing, though there's still a lot of development that needs to be done. But I'm hyped for each upcoming chapter update to see where the journey of them both will lead to. What about you? What do you think will happen? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments.